Welcome to Voices in Mystery. This is our 13th season. I'm Nancy Carlson, the host, and my first guest today is Judy Douglas Knauer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're from Illinois?
Yes.
Strawn?
Strawn.
Small town?
Real small.
Why do you live in a small town?
That's where my husband was born. I met him in Southern Illinois, and he was going to college with my younger brother, and we ended up back in Strawn.
Now,
Out in the country.
you have a new book out, and it's an e-book. The name of the book is A Dirty Way to Die, Mud Wrestling?
Mud wrestling.
What made you think of that?
Actually, I had sold a romance to Berkeley Publishing, and there was a professional Chicago mud wrestling team coming to the Fairbury, Illinois Fair. And I thought, I got to go interview these girls. I'll do a romance. And then, I wrote the book, and then I thought, there's no New York editor is going to look at something about mud wrestlers. So years later, working around 4 kids and being a farmsteader and all that, I started killing them off. I thought I'll make it a mystery. You're not going to find many books out there about professional female mud wrestlers, so I thought it would work, and I got some pretty good reviews.
What did the women tell you that you interviewed? Do they go on a circuit and like
They
the way
have
they
a tour.
circus performers?
They have a tour bus. They do hundreds of shows in a summer, outside and inside shows. I was on the bus with them. I learned about their love lives, such as they are on the road. They had some interesting backgrounds. Some of them actually were college graduates. It was an interesting time. It was about 6 hours that I spent with them.
Is A Dirty Way to Die part of a series that you're going to write?
I hope. I
Tell
hope. This is the first.
Tell me about the protagonist. Is it a private detective or
He's a private eye. He is, him and his buddy Steve were in Vietnam together. This place takes place in the 80s. Whenever they do anything together, something bad always happens. I use an expletive to explain what happens. They call it shepherd's luck. They're at the fair watching the mud wrestlers because Steve, the friend, one of his girlfriends is a mud wrestler. And she dies while they're watching, standing room only crowd. And Steve just falls apart and he says, this isn't right. She was a gymnast, and you've got to find out why she died. So Manny Shepard is the PI, and he gets on the tour bus with the girls, and and he has some conflicts there because his sweetie is a state's attorney, and he doesn't want to do something, be on a bus with these well-oiled bodies, But there is a sadistic killer out there who also goes after Manny.
Now tell me what it's like to work in the e-book world. You write a book the way you always would write it, right?
Right.
Did you finish it before you contacted anyone, or did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then where did you start to get your book published as an e-book?
Actually, I met the publisher, Karen Syed, at Love is Murder conference in Chicago. And I told her about the book, and she said, I'd love to see it. She loved the title. And it just kind of went from there. So
And it isn't just available on Kindle. It has
it's on Barnes & Noble's Nook, and it's on omnilit.com.
Have you read a book yourself on an e-book, and is that a different experience than reading with paper?
I don't have a Kindle or a Nook yet, but I have downloaded some on my PC, and it's a little adjustment because I like to hold a book, so this is different for me. But it's, once you get into the book, if it's a good book, you just keep reading just like you would, a novel that you're holding. So
Do you think it's an easier way to get published?
I think it is today.
Good.
And I think even people who are well known now are saying, I'm going to ebook, because I think they think they're going to make more. Of course, if they already have a big name, that helps.
Right.
But we're still learning how to get ourselves out there to advertise, get our...
Is the payment per click? I mean, per number of people that download it, as opposed to some sort of front payment that you would get if you were publishing
There
a book?
is, with Echelon, there is a front payment down, against royalties. And then you get a percentage, just like with a regular book. You get a percentage of the sales.
But if a lot of people download it and buy it, then...
And it's, if I can say the price, it's $2.99, $2.99, that's pretty affordable.
Sounds very reasonable.
So I'm hoping there's a lot of clicks.
Back to mud wrestling. I'm so fascinated. How does it work? You say they oil up. Why do they oil up their bodies if they're going to be slathering in mud?
Well, first they prance out on stage and they do their dancing, which is actually warm-ups for them. And, they're in high heels and skimpy outfits, and they are very attractive women. They're not, Amazon, unpleasant-looking women. They're very nice-looking women, and, the oiled bodies just makes them look sexier, I guess.
And then somebody's prepared a pit of mud?
They have, it looks like a kiddie pool.
Yeah.
It's all described in the book, but it looks like a kiddie pool, and a couple of the girls come out themselves. They dump bags of soil, topsoil, into the pool and mix in the water with a hose. And, of course, they're playing the Mississippi Mud song and doing a dance, and the crowd's going crazy just while they're mixing mud.
Is the outcome of the wrestling already determined, like a scripted fight?
I
can't
not
say.
sure.
Maybe
I'm really not sure. I'm not sure.
So that there isn't one bad one and one good girl, and the bad one beats up on them. They have personalities.
Yes, and the crowd boos them, and they throw mud at the crowd, and and the crowd loves that.
Do these take place in arenas or bars?
Both.
Both.
Both. They do both.
Since a kiddie pool will fit lots of different places. What are you working on now?
I'm working on a thriller, political thriller, called Morning Prayers, M-O-U-R-N.
Oh, yeah.
Prayers, as in people who pray on you. I want to get it done before the terrorist act actually happens.
Good.
Because it's unique. I'm still working on it. I'm 2/3 finished.
Those are spooky to write for fear it'll actually come true, huh?
And I want to beat that. I want to beat the news, which that sounds terrible, but it is a unique plot. So.
Well, I thank you for joining us today. We've been visiting with Judy Douglas Knauer, who's the author of A Dirty Way to Die, a mud wrestling mystery. And I so much appreciate your joining us on the 13th season of Voices in Mystery. So come back often, Judy.
Thank you very much.
All right.